Okay, welcome to this short tutorial on how you can make a some kind of image or front door for an object like your trinket box in year 10. First thing you're going to do is open 2D Design, which should be on your desktop somewhere. You'll see this logo here, 2D Design, so double click on that. That'll bring it up. Now you've got these points on the screen, and these are grip points to help you draw objects. So what I would say is, first of all, you need to have gridlock on. So you need to press that tool gridlock, and that will, when you draw, let's say I draw this triangle, see it's snapping to the points. Yeah, if I click there, as I go it snaps to the points. That makes it a lot more accurate. Let's get rid of that. You can click on objects and delete them. I just press my delete button. Anyway, these dots, they're visible, and you want to double click that, and you're going to change the spacing to 5mm by 5mm, X and Y. Now notice as they change, they're a lot closer together now. Now you need to first draw the size of your box front, the size of the door. Now if you click in the top left corner and then start dragging, at the bottom of the screen you see it says rel down here. It says rel. Watch these numbers change. Okay, those numbers tell you the size of the object you're drawing, and I know my box is about 180mm wide and about 215mm down. There you go, 180 by 215. That's the size of the door. Okay, and we're going to leave that as it is. Now if you wanted to add some imagery, let's say I was doing an Art Deco design. I know that there's lots of parallel lines, so I'm going to click on lines, and I'm just going to draw some lines. Again, you can see the rel numbers here changing. Okay, so let's say I did that line, and then I wanted to do another line. I'm going to make these a little bit shorter. Might have just say 3 sets of lines. Okay, now I'm going to show you a special tool. If I highlight these, if I click, hold the shift button on your keyboard, hold the shift button, click and click again, I've highlighted them all. What I want is I want to mirror these on the other side. So if I go draw, transform, and there's loads of special tools here I could do special things with. If you go mirror image, and I'm going to repeat that, click OK. If I find that's roughly the center there, if I draw a line up here, imagine that's a mirror, bang, it's copied it across, so now that is symmetrical. Okay, I'm actually going to draw these lines. I'm going to change the color to red, and the reason for that, they are red. Another way of selecting them all is just dragging your mouse over, and that will select them all. Again, go to line color here, cull, and then we're going to make them red again. Okay, now the difference is when I cut this box door, the black line, it will cut all the way through. The red lines, it just lightly engraves, just lightly leaves these on the surface. What I'm actually going to do is leave a line in the middle to act as a mirror, and I'll delete this later. Now if it was an Art Deco style, one thing I can do is hold down, I can select different options. If I select this object, draw a series of lines, like I said, if it's Art Deco, I might want to have a pattern, like a triangular shape. So if I went up here and drew a series of lines like this, this might make an interesting pattern. And then you just right click once you've done all the lines you want, right click. Now if I select that, oh, I need to press shift and select all of these lines. Press shift and click. And I'm going to do the same trick again. I'm going to draw, transform, mirror image, and repeat it, and then I'm going to draw a mirror. So if I click on a point here and then move down and then click again. I copied that exact image. So you can start making symmetrical patterns. Depending on what you want to do, there's this tool here which is contour. If you click that and it says contour spacing, let's leave that at 5 millimeters. Click OK. Now if I click inside, watch what happens. I get nice patterns within patterns. Okay, and all I need to do with them, that is actually one object. I'm just going to change again the color of all of these. I'm going to change the color to red. Okay. Now there's a nice image that might go on my door. So why don't you save where you're at? File, save. That'll be that icon there, save. And see how you get along. Drawing the size of your door and then adding some patterns on there. Give that a go. Alright, let's say you wanted to do, say, a Bauhaus theme. Now, what was common in Bauhaus was some square and rectangle shapes. So, let's say you had a series of overlapping squares and rectangle shapes. Something like that. Oh, something like that. Yeah? I just need to click. Oh, actually, I can use this delete tool. If you click delete any, that lets you select an item and it just deletes it. Let's say I didn't want that rectangle, I could then just click on it and it would delete that. So that's the delete any tool. Let's say I make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you can just go edit, undo, and that undoes the mistake, but you can only edit undo one step, so that I can't do it again. I can only edit undo once. Now let's say I wanted these squares or rectangles to overlap, but I didn't want all the lines to be shown. If you click and hold on the delete button, you can delete different parts. So I might want this one, delete part of an object. If you go on that option, this allows me to just delete these individual sections. See? So it's like one squares on top of the other. Another thing that's useful to know, let's say you had some triangle shapes. So if I click and hold, get some triangles. And if I turn grid lock off, remember, this gives me more freedom. So I'm not now attached to those points. See, it's just my line's floating. Now let's say I wanted a line from the top of that to the top of that triangle. But if I zoom in, let me show you something. Now if I try and find that point exactly, it's going to be very difficult. Look, if I click there and click there, if I zoom in, you can see I've actually missed the top of the triangles. So I'm going to delete that. Okay. If you wanted to connect those 2 points, let's say with this line, you can use this attach tool. So if I click attach, and then if I go near the top of the triangle and then click, oh, didn't work, press escape. Let me try again. If I click near the top of the triangle, click, oh, see it's gone straight to that point. I go over here and then I try again, click, you see it's jumped to the point. So there's a way of making sure you stay exactly on the ends of the line using this attach tool. When you're finished, you can just turn it off. Now I'm not saying that those two triangles are a nice design necessarily, but it just shows you what you can do if you go off grid. Usually I keep grid lock on just so that you're always on these dots. Okay, so give that a go, see how you get on. Another trick you might want to do is experiment with curved shapes. Let's say you wanted an Art Nouveau theme. That's lots of organic, natural shapes. So I could choose one of these tools to do with curvy lines. Let's say I just clicked on this one here. By the way, if you hold down, it brings different options up. Anyway, with this curve button, as I click, if I keep clicking, I get these nice curved shapes. Yeah. Now, in this instance, you see it's still jumping to the points. Yeah. That might frustrate me. So what I can do is if I go over here and turn grid lock off, I can put this anywhere I want. It's not snapping to the points. All I have to do is keep clicking until I'm happy with the shape I've got, and I just click off. Okay, again, you could use this contour tool. So if I clicked on that, you can set the distance. Let's change that to 2 millimeters now, and then click OK. If I click one side of the line, it's actually drawn something outside it. That's quite a weird sort of organic shape. So there's an object. Another thing you could do is draw curves. Let's say I wanted some leaf shapes. I might turn grid lock on just for a minute, and I could do, if I click, and then click again, you see you've got some sort of curve there, and from that point I might click, and then click back where I started, and then if I just added a slight curve underneath that, yeah, you see I've got a sort of leaf shape there. Now again, remember all of these lines, these need to be engraved, so I would have to select them all and change the color to red. Remember, the laser cutter, it cuts through anything in black, and it just engraves lightly anything in red. Let's say I wanted to add a window. If I wanted to add a window, for example, let's say it was a circle shape, I could click on circle, or it could be an oval shape. Oh, I want that. Could be an oval shape. If I go across to here, what that allows me to do is if I click and then drag, I could have different ovals. Now if I leave these black, what would happen is the laser cutter will just cut them out, so that would be a black hole. This would be a hole in your door. So there's an option. If you do it red, you're going to have, it's just going to lightly engrave. Anything blacks, it's going to cut all the way through. So have a play, experiment, see what organic shapes you get with circles or arcs and paths. See how you go. Okay, I'm going to show you one more tip, one more trick to getting an image into 2D design. The way you do that is you just Google search something. So I put key, because this is a key box holder. And what you want to do is find a really plain image. So that one's pretty plain, there's not too many colors in there. It's quite simple. And all you're going to do is right click, and you're going to copy the image. And then when you go in 2D design, you're just going to click edit and paste, and that brings the image in. Right, that's quite large, so I need to zoom out. Here's my zoom out tool, so I click that. Alright, now if I grab these yellow points here, I can bring the size down, and I can make that much smaller. Okay, and this middle point here allows you to move the object, so I'm going to put it up here. Right, if I then zoom in again, right, next thing you need to do is change that to a series of lines, because the laser cutter can't print color, it can only cut lines. And the way you do that is you click bitmap and then vectorize bitmap and just click on the image. That takes a few seconds, but it will bring up this screen eventually. The easiest way to do it is to change the whole image to monochrome, which means black or white, and then you just need to click OK. Now, as I said before, what we need to do is change that to red, because if it's black, it's going to cut all the way through. So we're going to change that to red. Now that's just changed the line on the outside. What I also need to do is click on it and click on fill and no fill, and then you just get the outline. That's all I want. I just want the outline of the object. So there's a key. I could put that on my door. I could also press this button here, that's copy, and I could move another one over here. Let's copy again, and this time if I press this button here, that flips the direction. Yeah, so I could have a series of different keys in different directions. Didn't mean to scroll down that quickly. Let's copy one more. I could even do it upside down. If I click there and then press that. Okay, it looks like sort of keys are falling from the sky there. So it keeps jumping. You might want to also add some text. So if you click on this ABC button here and then click somewhere, brings up this text entry box. I could type anything like key holder, and then if I change settings, I can select the font I want. So let's say I wanted Berlin Sans FB. I can click OK and OK again. Now what I could do is, again using this middle button, move that word into position. Maybe I want it at the bottom, and again if it tries to cut that out, it's going to spend ages lasering black, and I don't want that. So I'm going to click on my word, I'm going to change the line color to red, and I'm going to turn the fill off. Click fill and then no fill, then OK. There we go. Let's zoom out a bit. So there is several ways of making an attractive front door for your key box holder. Like I said, anything in black it cuts, anything in red it lightly engraves. You could do anything with writing if you press that button. You can contour, like I'll show you what that does again. Click contour, let's leave that at 2. If I click just outside an object, it gives me extra lines, and again I need to change that to red, otherwise it's going to cut that key out. So have a play, see what you can do. Okay, and remember, keep saving regularly. If you make a mistake, you can go edit, undo, but you can only undo one step. Okay, and keep regularly saving. File, save. Have a play, see what you can do.